the Nebraska Army National Guard. Guard the good life.
You've gotten used to one segment of Good Takes in the morning, but now there's a full show of Good Takes at night. Welcome into Raff's Good Take on Sports on 93.7 The Ticket.
All right, welcome back into Raff's Good Take on Sports. We got myself, Nick Wyman. Actually, looks like Raff just popped in here. So, since we got Nick Wyman, I don't want to highlight these changes too much, but we'll bring in Chris Raff. Raff, I'll let you meet one of our new producers. I know we switched things up here last minute. It's kind of why we got an impromptu Nick Wyman visit, but we got here. He will be one of your producers down the stretch here. So I might as well make the introduction right here on 93.7 The Ticket. You guys are welcome to join in, 402-464-5685. And do you guys know each other already, or no? Like the story.
No, so the story is I got this job, announced it, and Raff, even before my first day, I got a follow on Twitter from Raff, and I'm like, who is this guy? He's this guy. This guy's popular and everything. And come to think of it, here he is. So that's my origin story of meeting the Chris Raff.
And then I think I might have met you the last time when I was in. When did you start? It was like November, wasn't it?
December 1st.
December 1st. I felt, maybe it wasn't you. I thought I met you beforehand, but I don't know, man.
I mean, you're the guy. I mean, you're a popular guy, so you probably run into a lot of guys. So yeah. So we'll get to know each other down the stretch here. Harrison's trying not to play spoiler here, but yeah, I just thought I'd stick around since I was here for an extra hour just to help Harrison try out some new things, some new kinks in the system, and meet the Chris Raff, because
the legendary Chris Raff.
This is the show to be on. It sounds like Harrison's talked it up.
It gets a lot of talk, you know. It's fair. It's fairly popular. I mean, once you're a Raff's roadie, I mean that's something special, you know. That once you're anointed, that man, that's wild, crazy.
I'm a not anointed Raff roadie yet.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, we brand you for that. So
all right. Well, is there something I gotta do or anything, Raff? Anything I gotta do?
Oh no. It's just you just have to have a good time, be positive. Right. Love the Denver Broncos, and you're good to go.
Oh man, I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, man. I'm already off on the wrong foot. They're gonna kick me out of here now. I think this is not going off on the right foot. I've met Raff officially for 3 minutes, and
strike
one's already. This is not good. Man. We got two more strikes.
I think I knew you were a Chiefs fan. Now that I've listened to you, I delve into the sports radio listening an awful lot in my other career that I do down here in Alabama.
Well, hopefully you can forgive me for that. So I'm going to get out of here, though. Nice to meet you, Chris Raff. You and Harrison do your guys' thing. I'm going to sneak out of here. Nice to meet you. See you down the road.
Yep. Maybe I'll see you next week.
Probably, but we'll let you guys do your thing.
All right. There goes Nick Wyman. Let that man go get some sleep. He's doing extra hours all the damn time. Don't worry, Raff. Just to highlight, I'm not leaving you. so I'm not. This is not goodbye. But you will be working with Nick Wyman a little bit more than previously down the stretch here if everything goes to plan accordingly. But I am not leaving Raff's Good Take on Sports. I will still be the producer for this show. But I just want to throw that in there because I know Nick Wyman is a Chiefs fan. I was like, this could be interesting. We'll see how it goes.
I thought you were doing like a mic drop live on air. I thought you were. Just now you were like, well, here's Nick, I'm out. And I was like, oh, that was quick. I was like, okay. No, but I dropped a big hint there for you there. So did you catch that hint?
Do say that one more time. Sorry, I was reading the text line.
When Nick was leaving, I said, maybe I'll see you next week.
Well, maybe, potentially. I can't spoil anything. I don't get paid enough to put that all out there. But if everyone knows, the lineup here at 93.7 The Ticket is always constantly evolving and changing, and 99.9% of the time for the better. So I feel very confident about what we have coming down the road for you guys. But no, seriousness, like it's nothing major. I just thought like Nick was hanging around here, and I know I was messing around with the streams. I was like, Nick, just sit in for a minute because I know I'm throwing Raff a curveball. You might have to stall, and then you hopped in right at the beginning of the show. So we didn't really need you, but it was a good introduction nonetheless. We got a couple of texts here. Unknown Texter 1000 upset with Nick Wyman because he's a Raider fan.
Oh,
Raff, he's probably against you as well, being that the case. And then Disc Golf Jake says, be warned for Raff's roadies. Only way out is in a box.
See, that's commitment to excellence right there.
Commitment to intimidation. I'd say the very least.
No, that's just, once you're a Raff's roadie, you're a Raff's roadie for life. I think that's how it was. For life. Yeah.
because
I
of
mean,
the implications.
oh, there's no implications. If you're a Ralph's roadie, I mean, you're loving life. You're being happy. Every day's a new adventure. I mean, that's a for life thing right there. You're positivity. That's all Ralph's roadie is all about, and having a good time.
That was the reference to "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia" for anyone who missed it, right? Because of the implications line. But
We've had a lot of that going on tonight. You know, like I'm dropping this. I'll see you next week, Harrison. I'll see you next week, and I'm getting all like, "Oh, Ralph, why do you keep on saying I'll see you next week?" Like, maybe I make my return to Lincoln, Nebraska next week.
whoa.
Hmm.
Okay, well then we need to get the autograph lines ready and roll out the red
Yep,
carpet because every
yep.
time Raff comes to town, it's 1,000 people behind you loading
Yep.
up in the studio.
Next Thursday night, bring out your autographs. I will autograph all pictures, posters, footballs, baseballs, basketballs, whatever you want autographed next Thursday night. I'm there to autograph. So we might have to open the doors or something because I'm sure the lines in Lincoln, Nebraska will be extraordinary.
So if Nick Wyman brings his Chiefs jersey, you'll sign it?
You
He
betcha.
said anything.
Who? Only if it's a Mahomes jersey. I don't know if I would sign a Joe Montana jersey or a Steve DeBerg jersey or a Bill Kenny jersey, maybe a Lynn Dawson jersey. Yeah, maybe. We'd think about it.
Gonzalez? Would you sign a Tony Gonzalez jersey?
Oh yeah, and an Elvis Gerbach jersey. If he's got an Elvis Gerbach jersey, I will sign it because the real longtime Chiefs fans, I got respect for them because there are an awful lot of how do I explain it? Taylor Swift type fans out there that have only been fans, if you're a young fan and if you're a Chiefs fan, I have all the respect for you. But if you're like a 50-year-old fan and you were never a Chiefs fan until Patrick Mahomes and all that, then are you really a real fan? I don't know. I don't think so. I think if you're like in your 40s or 50s, you better know who Bill Kenny was. You better know who Elvis Gerbach was. You've got to know your past.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part. That's why it's kind of fun doing these shows with you, and then of course DP and whatever other old heads or slightly.
Hey now.
Yep.
I'm a middle-aged old head.
The young kids are calling people unks. I don't know which one sounds better, old head or unk.
Ooh, I don't know. Everybody calls Shannon Sharp unk. I don't know if I'm an unk quite yet. I mean, I know I kind of cringe when people call me sir. I know that's one of those that kind of gets me because I'm just like, sir. I'm like, no. I'm like, what's up, brother? How you doing, brother? Not sir, but yeah, I get a lot of sirs. That scares me a little bit.
Pete Ferguson likes seasoned term.
Who's seasoned?
That's never got on to the public.
I don't know if I'm quite seasoned yet, though. I mean, I look at Pete and all of his accomplishments, and I look at mine. I'm just like, man, I got about 20 years to go to catch up with all of his accomplishments. I'm just sort of like a middle of the road. I'm sort of caught in I'm an old man caught in a young man's body and brain.
Oh, it's a good thing to do. It's better than just be an old man with an old man mentality stuck in an old man's way. So yeah, whatever gets you through the days, Chris Raff. Quite an impromptu first segment here. Last one, Disc Golf Jake. Again, going back to be warned for the Raff's Road. His only way out is a box. He says, calm down. It's a nice box. So it's not an intimidation. Apparently it's very nice. I don't know what the inside of it looks like, but apparently it's not too bad. All right, Chris Raff, 15 minutes into the first segment, everything planning according to plan, as we predicted. What do you want to start off with?
I think we got to start off first with today's announcement from Dante Moore deciding that he is going to return back to Oregon. So that kind of sets the framework for Dylan Raiola now to what he's going to do. Will he be the backup quarterback next year for Oregon, or will he redshirt next year? It's going to be interesting to see the framework and the dynamics of what they decide to do with Dylan Raiola next year. I jokingly said that Dylan Raiola is just going to go on and beat out Dante Moore next year, and Dante will have passed up on a ton of money that he will never see because Dylan Raiola is going to beat him out. But I guess I would think that what they'll probably do with Raiola next year is redshirt him, and then if something, he's still able to play 4 games in the bowl game, and if something happens injury wise to Dante Moore, then maybe you might see that red shirt come off. But I would think that they're going to try their hardest to redshirt him next year.
That makes the most sense because then, we see it all the time. The more experienced guy you have, the better it works out. The experienced players pay off a lot of dividends in the college football world today. And if you can redshirt Dylan Raiola, you're sitting in a good spot. Ironically, I think this is probably best case scenario for Dylan Raiola. So he's still coming off that injury. And I don't know how healthy he'll fully be, during fall camp, coming out of fall camp, if he's going to need more time after that to just try and be fully healthy. Now he's in a situation where he doesn't have to rush. He can kind of ease back into it. Because with injuries, there's a timetable, but everyone's timetable is always a little bit different. So weirdly enough, this is probably the best thing that could happen for Dylan Raiola. For Dante Moore, though, I'm surprised. I don't think this is a very good quarterback class. Could be wrong. We see it all the time. Maybe this quarterback class has Hall of Famers all over the place, and I was just dead wrong. It happens. But if you're doing the grades and you're comparing it to previous classes, there's not a ton of dudes in there. You thought Nussmeier would be an elite talent, Klubnik, Sellers, and you kind of ended the table with Dante Moore times Ty Simpson and Mendoza. And then you could throw a few more guys in there. But all that to say is I thought this would have been a year where Dante Moore, if he decided to go, everyone played bad versus Indiana. So I don't think that was going to hurt his stock too much in that last game, despite, how badly they got beat. Surprised. I thought for sure he was going to be heading to the league this year, but he's taken aback. That Nike factory money must be that good.
Yeah, no, definitely. That crossed my mind too. But still, you think that with the signing bonus of a top 5 draft pick in the NFL, I don't think that kind of money can touch. I would assume he's probably getting anywhere from probably 5 to 7 million from Oregon, maybe this year this year. And his signing bonus would be, way past that. So I guess, maybe he feels he's got something to prove, or maybe he's got that bad taste in his mouth from the last game of the year. It kind of surprised me a little bit because I really thought with Dylan going there that maybe there was that possibility that he would be the starting quarterback because, situation wise that you talked about, and I agree with you totally, is I think that's a great position for him if he's able to redshirt this year, kind of get his feet back up underneath him, get knowledge of the offense. I think there's a lot of positives here, but you also look at Dylan Raiola for the prior 2 years, he has been the man of Nebraska football, the quarterback QB1. It's hard to kind of let that torch go, so to say. I mean, once you get that feeling, you have that when you're the quarterback and the starting quarterback, it is it's kind of intoxicating, and it's kind of you have that aura around you, the fans, you get that, and you start to that's you. And then now all of a sudden you're going to take all that away pretty much. And he's going to kind of go, if they decide, to go the red shirt route, you're not going to hear his name all that much next year. You definitely won't. Probably in Oregon, there'll be murmurs. Like if Dante Moore starts to struggle or something like that, there'll be murmurs. But I would think for the most part, Dylan Raiola is going to have one of those kind of an off year to where, like you said, he can work on his game, work on getting the leg healthy and doing all that stuff. But definitely it's definitely hard to let go of something that you've been so attached to for, the prior 2 years.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. Again, I think, for him to get out of the limelight might be one of the best things for him. And, I understand, William, tired of people talking about Dylan Raiola. Fair enough. I understand. But hey, we got 18 hours a day we got to cover. So he's going to come up sooner or later. We got plenty of other things to talk about as well, though. Chris Raff, Mike Eckler, I'm sure you're aware of the situation. And it's interesting. We do got the audio from that as well. I won't play it again because we just played it. But the key things in there, did you hear the audio? I should reference.
I don't think I did. I didn't even know he spoke, or who spoke.
It was Matt Rule. It was not like a press conference, though. It was like a podcast format. But we're just going to play it. It's not super long. It's only about 60 seconds. Just to kind of.
I think I heard it.
Okay. Well, the key parts to it then are Mike Eckler there's no clear answer if he's going to stay here or if he's going to move on. And then there's a little bit of maybe he's looking for a defensive coordinator spot. That was not said by Matt Rule, but he referenced they were willing to make him the highest paid or second highest paid special teams coordinator out there. Obviously, you compare that to a defensive coordinator salary, like that's still a pretty massive difference between your defensive and special teams coordinator. And, I think how most people are taking this is maybe Mike Eckler really wanted to be defensive coordinator. And now that we're bringing in Ulrich, he's maybe looking elsewhere. But we don't know for sure. Nothing's been said by Eckler, and nothing's necessarily been clarified by Matt Rule other than a little bit of what I just said there.
Yeah, no, I think you look at every coach. I mean, there's the allegiances of players and coaches these days. There's really not much. I mean, you're not going to go back to the 90s Nebraska where, coaching staff stayed together for, 20, 25 years. There's always going to be coaches out there looking to escalate their careers. And this is one of those, probably one of these times with Mike Eckler. I'm sure he'd love to stay at Nebraska, but from a career avenue, where is he, is he locked in, just to being the special teams coach? And if he has still that to be a linebackers coach or to be a defense coordinator or be something like that, he's probably going to have to look elsewhere, because now that Nebraska's kind of set their defensive staff up, like we never heard mentioned when Ulrich and Coach Rule were naming, defensive coaches. You have like Manning, and you've got Brown, who they just, and I don't know if that's official yet, but probably getting close. And you've got Dvorak, and you've got Addison, and you've got all those guys set up, and you never heard any mention other than, he helped with, the defense on the bowl game. But after that, there was never no mention of him, with any type of position or any with the defense. It was just special teams coach. So if he's still got that desire to be, a defensive coordinator, like you said, then you've got to always keep your eyes and ears open to look elsewhere. And I think that might be something, with USC. And then also too, if you're Lincoln Riley and you saw what Nebraska special teams did last year, you saw marked improvement. So this is the age of football that we live in now. I don't think there's any coach or any player that's really cemented that, hey, they're going to be around for, the next 10, 15 years. I just think those days are done.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with you there. There is a little part that I do want to play, just sample, not the entire thing, just because there's one thing that concerned me a little bit in this, and maybe just kind of the way it works in college football. But Matt Rule talks a little bit about, some of the guys under Mike Eckler and his confidence in them.
I don't know what's happening. I'm kind of learning a lot of things on social media. And you know me, I'm never going to BS anybody. With that being said, he taught us a great system of special teams. He taught us a great teaching progression. And I've got some guys here, Josh Martin, Nick Humphrey, who, were his right-hand guys. I have a guy, Brett Maher, who kicked in the NFL, who's brilliant. So I hope Mike's back. I loved working with him. If a team pursues him and he decides to leave.
Yeah, okay. That's pretty much the part I wanted to get to. Is he talks about some of the guys working under him. And if those are the replacements, I'm not going to say they can't do the job. I don't really know their backgrounds all that well, outside of a few. But the only thing that worries me about that is that's great and all, but the reference I used in the last hour with Nick Wyman was, I've done a lot of time in show with DP, and I've done it for a few years with DP. I'm in no position to take over the ticket and run the ticket. Mike Eckler did a phenomenal job, but he was only there for 1 year. I don't know if the guys under him, as much as they're learning, and maybe they're great guys and they have a great career in front of them, I don't know if we can just confidently say, like, hey, they were behind Eckler. They're going to run the same show. Like, let's pause there. It was 2 years ago. Our special teams was horrible, and it was horrible for a long time. And then we finally had a good year. I hope those guys do continue if that's the direction they go. Again, we don't know if Mike Eckler's staying, leaving, but if that is the direction, like, let's just, I get it, hype up your guys, but that's not necessarily sell of like they were under Eckler, so it's going to run the same way.
Yeah, and I think too is they probably, they have learned from Eckler. I get that, but then they're also they're going to have to be prepared for all eyes on them. And if Eckler decides to leave, the new coach, whoever they deem to be the new special teams coach at Nebraska, will have all eyes on them, and they're going to feel the applaud of Nebraska fans, but they're also going to feel the wrath of Nebraska fans. So you definitely want the most qualified individual coach to, take that place. Like I'll say it right now. yes, that they worked under the hand of Mike Eckler. They have worked under the hand of Mike Eckler, but I don't think that that automatically means that you name one of them the special teams coach. I think you have to look elsewhere and look and see, is there any other up and coming or rising or great special teams coaches out there that Nebraska might be able to go out and get? I mean, I get being loyal to your buddies to a point, but you also got to remember that you're trying to get the best possible staff possible. You're not trying just to always stay within your coaching legion of your best friend, or not best, but your friends, to name a new coach. So I hope, if Eckler decides to leave, I hope he stays. I think he's been, a great boost, of energy to the special teams. But I also know that if he decides to leave, I really hope that, Coach Rule doesn't just automatically be like, okay, one of you three get the job. I hope he does a search and they look for the best possible person and not just the best possible person that's at Nebraska right now.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Eckler was the statement hire that we are going to take special teams very serious here at the university, and it was the first time in a long time they looked good, and to the point where it's an advantage. They won us games last year. I don't know if we win 6 or 7 games, seriously, if our special teams don't take the significant jump that they did. So the fear is if that slips again, and then you look at next year's schedule, and of course you don't want to forecast everything because we simply don't know. And ironically enough, we typically don't even know all the way until November. It's after they put the pads on. It's after a few months of playing. We get to November, and then we kind of see what the makeup of this team consists of. But you just don't want any sort of slip back.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I go back to the special teams. So he's got he's got those 3 guys underneath them. None of them really have any like coaching, like head special teams coaching experience, right? And you're wanting to get, the best out there. And I'm not saying he's the best, but there's a guy, in Lincoln right now that has experience being a head special teams coach. And it's like, are you going to look at him, or is it just, if he's not in your coaching tree, it's just automatically excluded? Because we all know that Will Compton called Coach Rule and said, hey, Coach Rule, you want to take a look at Mike Eckler? And then that's the way that was put together. So is there somebody out there that can call Coach Rule and be like, hey, Coach Rule, Bill Bush is in town and he had a pretty good spark of special teams while he was at Nebraska. So I just don't know. That's my only thing, is just, I want them to get the best special team coordinator out there. And just because that they've worked underneath Mike Eckler, that does not mean that they're going to be a great special teams coach. It's not how that works. And that's, I just, my thing is, like I say, I want Eckler to stay, but if he doesn't, I want him to do a search and not just award it to just some guy that's, there right now. I mean, if they deserve it and they earn it, by all means hire him. But just to be like, well, he learned, or he's been learning underneath Mike Eckler, I don't know if that automatically qualifies you to be the head special teams coach.
Yeah, and like, if it was, he's been with Mike Eckler for 4 seasons, 3 seasons now, and he's been his guy, like, that's a little bit different. But like 1 year is not enough to give me the confidence that they're going to be able to take over that same system. And I'm not going to bash the Husker football program because there's still a lot of pieces moving. So I get that part with Matt Rule and not saying too much or too little, because he truly probably doesn't know what the final end result is going to be. So I get that part. But, you don't want to see that part of our game slip. We've talked about it forever. It'd be great if Husker football could be a 3-phase team. We finally got one of those parts locked down with the special teams. And then, it's just defense or offense. We take turns on those 2, but the special teams finally got switched on. And I think it won us some games. So go for it, Raff, because we got to throw the break here. But
well, that goes back again too. It's like, you need to make if Eckler decides to leave, you need to make a stellar hire for a special teams coach, because you don't want to go another year and then at the end of the year say, oh, maybe he wasn't right for the system. We're going to go out and hire a defense coordinator or a special teams coach now, so you definitely want to be sure that this hire that you make, it's not one of those like, well, he learned under Eckler, so we're going to hire him and see what happens. You want to know that you're getting a good special teams coach, because we're at that point now. We're past having to wait another year and another year and another year. It's like, it's time. I mean, we're going into year 4. We need to be getting stuff set and ready to go.
Well said. And we got to throw at the break here, but we'll get one more from the text line. Shout out IQ Crew says Raff's Roadie's checking in. He says, go Broncos, beat the Bills. Maybe talk a little bit NFL playoffs down the road here. So don't go anywhere. Raff's Good Take on Sports, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. We'll talk to you guys on the other side.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting lincolnteammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Hi, I'm Scott Miller, Business Development Officer at Midwest Bank's Lincoln branches. As a lifelong Lincolnite with over 30 years of experience in financial management, I'm here to help your business grow and succeed. My focus is building strong relationships with businesses and clients across Lincoln. Because at Midwest Bank, we believe banking is about people, not just numbers. Visit us at midwest.bank or stop by one of our Lincoln locations. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
A business's phone is the lifeline to its customers and potential clients. That's why it's so important that you can take calls seamlessly from anywhere, whether you're on the road or in the office. Hamilton Business Technologies can help ensure your phone rings wherever you are. We can equip your headquarters and any of its locations with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we know how to keep Nebraska businesses connected. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Fast plays, big swings, and momentum that shifts in an instant. On Sunday, January 18th, Love Nebraska takes on Love Atlanta at Baxter Arena in a matchup packed with energy and high-level competition. First serve is set for 5 p.m. with some of the best professional volleyball athletes in the world battling every point. Add in youth volleyball night for the local kids and club teams, and you have a can't-miss night in Omaha. Secure your seats and feel the intensity live at lovebneb.com/tickets.
Back to Raff's Good Take on Sports on 93.7 The Ticket. With all the good takes you need, here is your host, Chris Raff.
Welcome back in. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. We got Chris Raff joining in via stream. Talked a lot of Husker football in the first segment. Man, this is the first time I played this outro. This song got a little bit of jazz on Raff's Good Take on sports. You guys are always welcome to join in. Talk Husker football. I do want to mention, we haven't talked about him yet, but Husker football also adds in new defensive line coach Corey Brown out of Miami, Ohio. Raff, quickly, what are your thoughts on Corey Brown? Because I was wrong on Brad, and I kind of sold that higher, and it did not turn out the way it did. Whether that's a result of the talent on the field and the youth, or if that just wasn't quite the right fit with Brad. And although he said all the right things during the press conference, we've been there before. Unfortunately, we never saw the results. What are your thoughts getting rid of Brad and bringing in Corey Brown?
Well, what I'll say on Coach Braden is in the future, you're going to see a great defensive line coach. He's a rising young star. I think the situation he was put in at Nebraska, I think probably looking back on it, probably wasn't the situation. Oh, how would you explain it? You just had you had a lot of different moving parts. You had a defense coordinator coaching a defense that wasn't his defense. So you're kind of doing a hodgepodge of coaches. The one thing I really like about the new defense line hire now is he's had some connection with Rob Orich. They've worked together so that they're not coming in cold turkey and trying to gel together. So I'm hoping that the year that I believe it was South Dakota State, I believe they spent together, that will be a positive to where they can hit the ground somewhat running, knowing the defensive concepts and the philosophies and everything that what Coach Orich coaches. So that is a positive, that knowing that there was a connection there between the coaches. So that's my stance on that. And then I also want to say one thing. Sue, congratulations, College Football Hall of Famer.
No brainer. Absolute no brainer to get Sue in there. I think like
first year nominated, first year on the ballot, first year College Football Hall of Fame. I mean, guy's a monster. So it's pretty cool to see that announced today. And now I'll tell you what, when you have Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh you have a pretty decent offensive line going into that College Football Hall of Fame that probably could walk out on the field today and probably dominate.
That's a really good point. That is Aaron Donald in that same one. Those are a couple of guys that are absolute monsters. And since we're talking to Ndamukong Suh, let's have some fun with it. His Heisman year, where he should have gotten first, he got fourth, Raff. I people always think he got like second, third. He got fourth somehow. He had 52 solo tackles on the year, 33 assisted tackles, a combination of 85 tackles for loss, 20 and a half tackles for loss. And let's put in 12 sacks, and then let's throw in an interception. And he didn't have any interceptions that came back for touchdowns that year. I thought he did. In 2008, though, he had 2 interceptions and 2 touchdowns, 2 pick sixes in one season alone. But, I mean, that's an unreal number. I mean, 85 total tackles, 20 and a half tackles for loss. And those tackles for loss had a little bit more to them, a little bit more pain. I don't know if you can add the pain factor into these stats, but they were at a 10. I mean, it's still one of my favorite memories. I know we lost that game, but watching him throw Colt McCoy around the field for an entire game was just an unbelievable watch. I almost, started to feel bad for McCoy. I was like, listen, I don't like you guys, but I don't know who deserves this. But then, of course, they get the miracle 1 second back on the clock, and someone was looking out for him, because that would have been a humiliating loss for an offense that had no business really competing with Texas, but that defense was the best defense probably in college football that year. Shout out Jared Crick as well. He was that 1-2 punch, and obviously a lot of that was Sue's dominance, but Crick was a menace along with Sue.
I think you could argue that interior defensive lineman, I would say Sue is probably, you could argue him to be the best ever interior defensive lineman. I mean, there have been some great college interior defensive linemen through the years, but I think you could put Sue up there against anyone, especially his senior year. I mean, the way he could disrupt a game, that's the one thing that you had never really had seen, is a defensive lineman, interior defensive lineman of all people, disrupt a game the way he did. And, batting balls, the interceptions, just the big plays that he could make, just playing, interior like he did. And it's hard pressed. I mean, I know there's some other guys out there that had great college careers. Like Warren Sapp kind of always comes to mind for me, but it's just like, at the end of the day, Sue, it might just be the greatest to ever. And you always kind of got to separate, like people are gonna be like, well, Aaron Donald was the best. Well, in the NFL, yeah, I'd go with, Aaron Donald having, a much, not a much more, but a more productive career than Ndamukong Suh. But if you look at just college and that senior year, I'd have to say, Sue's senior, like you said, finishing 4th in the Heisman Trophy is crazy. I mean, at minimum, it should have been 2nd that year.
Yeah, I think Ingram won, didn't he?
Yep, and then he's going into the College Football Hall of Fame this year also.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a good year of football. A lot of studs in that class. But, yeah, I mean, it all just goes back to, like, for him to do what he did at that position and single-handedly made Nebraska a real threat to anyone. I mean, because of one man, just a wrecking crew, and you could not stop him. You'd have to send 3 offensive linemen to cover him, and that just opened it up for our linebackers to wreak absolute havoc. And I can imagine any defensive coordinator will look elite when he's on that team. And just a cherished memory watching all of his games. I mean, one of my absolute favorites. And I think he could have a more significant NFL career, but he kind of went along with the hired assassin route, like towards the end. A good chunk towards the end of his career. He just wasn't playing in the regular season, would kind of hang around. He'd have his workout regimen for, X weeks, this many weeks, or, more or less, I have a game plan to get ready. And he did that for a while. So he had some seasons where he wasn't putting up big numbers simply because he was hopping on towards the later part of the season.
And I don't think he had any major injuries while he was in the NFL. I believe he had a knee injury was it like his sophomore year at Nebraska, between freshman and sophomore year at Nebraska? I think he had a knee injury. But I don't think that he had any major injuries in the NFL. I mean, he came out. I mean, you're going to have your typical, your football war injuries to what he's dealt with. I'm sure he wakes up sore in the morning. But when it comes to major injuries, major surgery, stuff like that, he came out of it pretty well unscathed. So that's huge for him also. So definitely, and we can't forget he did get a Super Bowl ring. So he definitely had a great career. Maybe not up to like the Aaron Donald type career, but he definitely is good. I think to where will he be like a first ballot Hall of Famer? Probably not. But I think he's definitely going to be in that discussion, when 5 years comes up for the Hall of Fame to possibly be an NFL Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's, Tom Brady has the story with Sue, and it's still one of my favorite stories. He's talking about, the first time going up against Sue, and what he likes to do is try to be a little bit nicer, closer to him. And he always tells the story of Sue telling him, "You're not my blanking friend." It's like, oh, okay. This is going to work versus Dynamic Sue. He does not care anything. He just wants to go ahead and take me out for as many loss of yards as he possibly can. He was just intimidating, man. Like he had a little bit of a haters club for when he was with the Detroit Lions that I won't get into. And you can think if he was in the right or wrong, or if he knew where he was stepping, or if he didn't know where he was stepping. But that man put the fear of, in anybody's eyes. He kind of had that same thing with Donald, where you just had to commit a lot of manpower to him, and he was it was never going to be an easy recipe. You knew you had to battle him for the entire 4 quarters, because as soon as you let one play go, or half butt one play, you're on your butt, because he's always going 100 miles an hour as soon as that ball snapped. And yeah, I will say, as unfortunate as I am to be born in '99, when the Huskers, you argue that should have been their last championship, and things fell short. And then after that, it was the Bo Pelini era and things fell apart. I was lucky enough to go see one of the most dominant players, along there in Ndamukong Suh. I mean, he's in the conversations with Rich Glover. Like, he was that good. I don't know who was better. I wasn't alive for Rich Glover, and that black and white tape is hard to break apart. But that's how he's talked about. It's just a guy that you could not stop. No matter what you wanted to throw at him, there was no answer.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's going to be one of those, this summer when we do our top positions by Nebraska players. It'll be interesting to see who makes that Mount Rushmore of interior defensive linemen for Nebraska. I think you can name the first maybe 3, but then who will be like number 4. So we'll get to that this summer when we're looking for that fun content.
Oh, there's always plenty of that fun content. And maybe people will be a little bit more happy to talk about Husker football. It's been, people, this is the most, and you can tell me if you've seen it in different eras, this is the weirdest I've ever felt talking about Husker football. And like, I'm not even here saying like, wow, we should all be mad at Matt Rule. We should, pick up our torches, or we should all stay cool. Nothing's the problem. I really don't know which direction this program's heading in. And maybe I got sold by the hype too many times in a row to where that's why I feel so different, or there is something else going on here where I don't want to say it's apathy, because I do think roll around fall, people are going to be fired up for it. As much as people complain, they're rooting for Matt Rule to pull this thing off. If he starts winning, nobody cares. Everyone's happy with the product. We're all rooting for it, but it is interesting. It's been the weirdest time talking about Husker football I've had in my career.
Well, a big thing too about this is the first time in a long time where when Nebraska basketball is really good, back in the 90s, the football team was really good. So football still overshined it. But this is the first time probably in 50 years, 60 years that Nebraska basketball it's got such a shine and such a luster to it now. I mean, football is really took a back seat. Like Nebraska got a new quarterback recruit today, and
Yeah.
it's like I barely knew it. You know, if I saw it kind of, you know, going through Twitter X there, I saw it. But, you know, usually if we got a new quarterback commit, we'd have opened up the show tonight, you know, talking about that. And it's sort of like, it's kind of like we've all kind of took that wait and see, and that excitement's towards, you know, basketball. You know, it's a countdown to 3:00 on Saturday where Northwestern and Nebraska play. So it's definitely
Look at you, Raff. You are a Husker Hoops fan now.
it's definitely a different. However, the Broncos play at the same time, so we're gonna have to figure out. So we'll worry about that when we get there. But that's the thing about it is, I think Nebraska basketball has kind of stole some of that luster away from the Nebraska football offseason. However, I will say this though about it: you can feel some of that Kool-Aid being drank out, that Husker Kool-Aid being drank a little bit, because the talk of, you know, okay, we're probably going to have 3 new offensive linemen on the line next year, joining, you know, Evans and Pritchett, and we're going to do this. And you're already seeing, like, we're going to install them here. We're going to do this. We're going to have a new quarterback. So you're starting to see that Kool-Aid starting to be sipped a little bit. So it's still there, but I just think that basketball has really stole a lot of that limelight away, just for the fact of, you know, how well they're doing right now.
Yeah, and you know, for Matt Rule's defense and every college football program across the country's defense, it's hard to sell the narrative now. And that's why the QB recruit doesn't take the headlines away anymore, because, yeah, it's nobody's real fault other than, you could say, the NCAA or some of these big figures, the conferences, for kind of allowing this system to exist the way it is. But yeah, people are in a wait and see because we see guys transfer.
Yeah.
I mean, we got guys on this year's roster that are incoming from the portal that this is their 4th or 5th stop. Nothing against those guys. We've talked about before. I hope they kill it at Nebraska. I hope they leave with a degree. Phenomenal. But, you know, it's hard to love the narrative. And when you compare it to the Fred Hoiberg team, and because ironically, I think it's because they had a very small NIL payroll. I don't think they get nearly the same amount as a lot of these other Big Ten schools. You know the story of DeMarcus Lawrence. You've been rooting for him for a while. Sam Hoiberg, same thing. Rink Mass, same thing. You bring in Sanford, but even a Sejan, who you saw last year, he's out, but you're rooting for him. You have some known faces at the very least. And then between Nate Lenzer and Fred Hoiberg, those two coaches right there, they've been together the entire time. So you have the narrative behind it, and there's a little bit more care there because these guys have been here for a while. And you got some natives, like Frager's a native, Jacobson's a native, and then, of course, Sam Hoiberg. So that also helps a lot. And it's easier said than in basketball. You got 5 dudes, not a roster of 100-plus guys. So
Yep.
I give a little bit of fault. Go ahead.
And also, too, Nebraska fans have been a little bit, you know, scorned by a little bit, because you remember, you know, Coach Rule got up at, you know, Big Ten Media Day and said, hey, this is year 3. We've got the team now to go out and compete for a Big Ten title. And now after the year, we're being told, well, we didn't have the players yet. So I think if you're a Nebraska fan right now, you know, words kind of fall on deaf ears. Now it's like, hey, you can tell us how great you are, or, you know, the players you've got, but we want to see it out on the field. I'm taking like that AD perspective now to, like, say what you want. I'm not going to get super excited about it. I want to see it on the football field now. I don't want to be told, like, hey, we're ready to compete. Hey, we've got the players. Hey, we've got the offensive line. Hey, we've got the defense. Hey, I'm done with that. I want to see it on the field now. I don't want, you know, because we kind of got fooled a little bit this past year, because you remember when they took the podium, it was like, hey, year 3, we've now got the team. I feel great about this team. We're going to compete for a Big Ten title. I remember our former quarterback getting up and saying that we were going to win the national championship. You know, so it's like, now we've heard the words, so you can't go with that. Like, next year, I don't think that you can get up on the podium and say, hey, we're ready to compete for a Big Ten title now. It's kind of one of those, hey, I hope we made the necessary steps to improve, and we'll see. We'll throw the dice and see where they lie. And I think that's where we're at now with Nebraska football. I like I said, statements mean literally nothing to me now. It's like, I want to see it on the field.
Yeah, wins. I mean, if they're winning, then all that's true. If they're not winning, then yeah, you'll look at those comments a little bit differently. We got to throw it to break here. Just on some news, though, since we're all big Husker Hoops fans now. Northwestern Wildcats, they lost tonight, so they are still have not won a single Big Ten game. They're 0-6 in Big Ten play. They're 8-9 in overall play. The Fighting Illini get that win. So we beat the Fighting Illini, so you feel good about that. And that was also a home game for Northwestern. So we'll see what version of Northwestern shows up for Nebraska, because they got a top 10 opponent heading their way next. Don't go anywhere. This is Raff's Good Take on Sports, 93.7 The Ticket. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
At Doane University, we build leaders, and that means your success and achievements come first. Now is the time to get a glimpse into living and learning at Doane University through a personalized in-person or virtual visit. We know once you experience Doane, you'll see why it's a place where you can achieve your goals and shape your future. Schedule your personal campus visit today at doane.edu/visit.
Change begins with you. Join a weight loss medication study at Solarion and earn cash in the process. If you are 19 to 65 years old with excess weight to lose, you may qualify. Participants could earn up to $22,750 for their time. Study includes 1 2-night stay, 1 3-night stay, and 38 returns. Learn more at helpresearch.com/flamingo or call 866-213-2965. Weight loss not guaranteed.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and wow, what a year it was at Koppel. The Koppel family would like to say thank you for a record-setting sales year in 2025. Now let's start 2026 off with the bang. New GMC Sierra pickups starting at $12,500 off list or 0% APR. Also hot off the presses, new Terrain leases at $299 per month. That's right, $299 per month on new GMC Terrain leases. So please stop on in the store or online at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G138852 and G165184, $2,500 down with proof credit.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
A new year means it's time to try new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For the days you don't want to go to the gym, don't worry. Führer's cheese spread is there to cheer you up. And for the days you do get to the gym, why not celebrate when you get back with the best dip around? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling, residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Dana Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Dana Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Dana Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Back to Raff's Good Take on Sports on 93.7 The Ticket. With all the good takes you need, here is your host, Chris Raff.
Wrapping things up, Raff's Good Take on Sports, 93.7 The Ticket. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always as we continue to put more and more content here on a nightly basis. Chris Raff, what is your good take on July 14th, 2026?
All right, everybody. Today's Raff's Good Take goes out to the man, the myth, the legend. The guy makes great coffee, works at the mill. It's his birthday today, Mr. Luke Peterson. Just wanted to wish Luke a very happy birthday. Just a great dude. I never drank coffee until I met him. I had my first ever cold coffee. So, Luke, I just wanted to wish you a very happy birthday, and you are Raff's Good Take.
As you say that, I'm texting Luke happy birthday right now because I didn't know that. And I do drink a lot of his coffee. He supplies my addiction. So happy birthday to Luke Peterson. He's so nice, man. He even trained his staff now, like because I'm, the vampire hours, whatever you want to call it. Not quite past midnight, but the coffee closes at 5. They got stuff to do. No one's really getting coffee past 5 o'clock, especially during the work weeks. And they'll put some coffee back there for myself to keep me in my addiction healthy and strong. So I always got warm coffee like this one right here. Nice and warm, still warm, fresh hot back there. So they hooked me up. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, I think that's a great one to wrap up on. He does a great job here. If you are not lucky enough to meet Luke yourself, swing by here, 1040 O Street. The Mill Coffee is great as always, but then you got some real great service. And Luke's a great guy to talk to.
Hey, Harrison, before we go I'm making a pact to all the listeners out there. I will not talk about Dylan Raiola anymore, or at least until he has like 6 touchdown passes in a game for Oregon. But I am finished. I'm letting it go. So to the listener out there that commented said he's turning the channel every time I talk about him, I've let it go right now. What time is it? 9:58 on January 14th, 2026. I am no longer talking about Dylan Raiola. It's done. It's finished. Go Huskers.
I'm assuming you read our text from our friend, Mr. William Powers there on Facebook. Hey, you guys can say whatever you want. I get it. I always fall in the fruit of. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to keep talking a lot of Husker sports. Trust me, not all the dominoes have fallen, but there's your promise from Chris Raff. We'll talk more tomorrow. That is Chris Raff. I am Harrison Arns. Appreciate you guys listening as always. We'll talk to you in a little bit.